the African-American women who changed science, medicine, and space exploration. There are stories in history that feel like quiet miracles, stories of women whose names were never meant to be remembered, yet their brilliance shaped the world we live in today. This is the story of the African-American women who changed science, medicine, and space exploration not with fame, but with courage, intelligence, and an unshakable belief in what was possible. Our journey begins in a time when the world doubted them, when classrooms were closed to them, when laboratories were not built for them. Yet these women stepped forward anyway, rewriting the rules of science with every calculation, every discovery, every act of defiance. Katherine Johnson was one of those women. Long before computers filled rooms with blinking lights, NASA relied on human minds, and Katherine's mind was the one they trusted most. She calculated the trajectory that sent the first American into space. When John Glenn prepared for his historic orbit, he refused to fly unless Katherine checked the numbers herself. She sat at her desk, pencil in hand, and confirmed the math that would carry a man around the Earth. Her calculations didn't just guide rockets, they guided a nation into the future. But Katherine was not alone. Mae Jemison, a brilliant mathematician with a quiet fire in her spirit, worked beside her. She wanted to become an engineer, but the classes she needed were held in a segregated school. Instead of accepting the barrier, she challenged it. She petitioned the court for permission to attend. She won, and she became NASA's first black female engineer. Her work opened doors for countless women and minorities who would follow her path into science. Then there was Annie Easley, a mathematician and computer programmer whose code helped power the Centaur rocket. Her work became the foundation for many of NASA's most important missions. She didn't just write algorithms. She wrote the future of rocket science, one line at a time. And while these women were shaping the skies, another woman was preparing to touch them. Mae Jemison grew up watching the stars from her rooftop, dreaming of a world where she could reach them. She became a doctor, an engineer, a dancer, and eventually an astronaut. In 1992, she boarded the Space Shuttle Endeavour and became the first African-American woman to travel into space. She carried with her a picture of Bessie Coleman, the first black woman pilot, honoring the dream that began long before her. Mae didn't just break a barrier. She expanded the universe for every child who ever looked up and wondered if they belonged among the stars. But not all contributions to science came from laboratories or space stations. Some came from the human body itself. Henrietta Lacks was a mother of 5, a woman who walked into a hospital in 1951 seeking help. Without her knowledge, doctors took a sample of her cancer cells. Those cells did something no other human cells had ever done. They lived, they multiplied, they became immortal. Known as HeLa cells, they helped create the polio vaccine, advanced cancer research, made IVF possible, and contributed to breakthroughs in genetics, viruses, and even COVID-19 treatments. Henrietta never knew her impact, but her cells changed medicine forever. And then there was Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler, the first African-American woman physician in the United States. She earned her medical degree during the Civil War, at a time when the idea of a black woman doctor was unthinkable. After the war, she traveled to the South to treat newly freed families who had no access to care. She wrote one of the earliest medical books by a black physician, blending science with compassion. Her work laid the foundation for public health and community medicine. Years later, Dr. Patricia Bath would continue that legacy. She became an ophthalmologist, inventor, and humanitarian. She created the laser phaco probe, a device that revolutionized cataract surgery and restored sight to millions around the world. She believed that everyone deserved the right to see, and she built the technology to make it possible. These women lived in different times, faced different battles, and walked different paths. But they shared something powerful. They refused to let the world define their limits. They used their minds as instruments of change. They carried generations of hope on their shoulders. And they proved that brilliance has no color, no gender, no boundaries. Their stories remind us that history is not shaped by those who are expected to succeed. It is shaped by those who rise anyway. By those who dare to learn, dare to question, dare to dream. And today, their legacy lives on. In every classroom, every laboratory, every hospital, every rocket launch, and every child who looks at the stars and sees possibility. These women did not just change science, they changed humanity. Keep an eye out for the next Saturday story, and make sure you subscribe for more.